What's going on, Broncos country? Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown. Before we get to today's show, I want to start things off by asking this question. Who has been your favorite free agent signing thus far? Is it the big one, Randy Gregory, or you want to go maybe on those like the smaller name route, DJ Jones or K'Wan Williams? Personally, I think it's K'Wan Williams when you take in the value for what you're going to get versus what you're paying. But let me know what you think down below. Today's show, we're going to check out some possible draft day trades the Broncos could make. So a couple things to preface. Also, before I forget, at the end of the show, pretty interesting, we'll call it, quote coming in about why Vic Fangio got fired. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Also, I'm really forgetting things. We're going to get some shout-outs because I put a community post out, and anyone that commented on it, you're getting a shout-out on the show. But let's get back to the main attraction here. 3 draft day trades. So the Broncos' biggest needs are offensive tackle, edge, linebacker, running back, corner, safety. I think the first 2 are obvious, and then after that, maybe you can mess with the order a little bit. Altogether, Denver's got 8 picks. So they can take some of these picks. They can take some players. And you may have noticed I put a player in the title of the video. And that's going to get people pissed at me. But that's the life here you live as a YouTube channel host. And they don't end up picking the Broncos I'm talking about until the end of round 2. So maybe Peyton is sitting there like, you know what? I'm getting a little bored. I'm watching everyone else make some picks. I want to have some fun. I want to pick a little earlier. So here is Denver's draft picks all together so you guys can get the full picture of what Peyton has to work with right now and what ammunition he could use to try and move up in the draft, right? Make one of those draft day trades to get himself an earlier selection. So bear with me on this because the 3 trade ideas I have are not 3 trades necessarily that I would do. That's not what I'm trying to get across here. Just 3 trades I think are feasible, make sense, and both parties come away with some, logic behind why they did the trade. So, my first trade idea is Bradley Chubb. I know. I talked about him last week. I got roasted, but that's the job right now because you know what? It's been the dog days between free agency and the draft. So, I've got the Broncos moving up with the Baltimore Ravens, taking over their 13th pick in the second round, so number 45 overall. And they pick up a future 6 because GMs love to just toss in future day 3 picks to smooth everything over. Meanwhile, the Ravens get Bradley Chubb because this is a Baltimore team that finished the season on a big kind of losing spell last year, 8-9 overall. But with Lamar Jackson still on his rookie deal, they want to win now. And they need help at edge rusher. And Bradley Chubb, he can be a day 1 starter and not maybe a rookie project-ish that they may have picked at 45 instead. So the Ravens get Chubb. They get the 3rd round pick, and they also pick up a 2nd rounder and a 4th. So would you be okay with trading Bradley Chubb? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know if you'd be on board with that. Just as a whole. Could you stomach the idea of trading Bradley Chubb? If not, just hear me out. I'm not making a pitch to trade Bradley Chubb, but I'm just kind of going to do a little bit of a, let me remind you of a couple things when it comes to Bradley Chubb. I still am I wouldn't say believer, but I'm not, punting on him for 2022. However, the facts are he's entering the final year of his contract. He's had numerous injuries recently, and that's a bummer, but that's the NFL. He hasn't played a full season since his rookie year in 2018. All right, that's a lot of football he's missed. Granted, he played 14 games, which is close, but still, 5 games back in, 2019? Yeah, and then 7 games in 2021. You haven't gotten the 5th overall pick you thought you were going to get out of him. He's not a bust, but he has not lived up to the expectations. So those 2 things can be true. So as for Bradley Chubb's future, this may be the last year for him in Denver. And maybe Peyton sees that and he goes, you know what? Can I get a future edge rusher out of him by trading him away? All right, moving on. Trade idea number 2 now. Broncos and Falcons. Yep, the 2 Super Bowl rematch there, I think? Yeah, right there. So Falcons and Broncos. Okay, so Broncos take over Atlanta's pick at pick 11 in round 2. That's the number 43 overall pick. Meanwhile, the Falcons get Denver's 2nd round pick and Denver's 3rd round pick. So altogether, they swap seconds, and in exchange, the Falcons pick up a bonus 3rd. I'll tell you who I think the Broncos should pick with this new second-round selection they're going to get in just a second. But first, if you're looking for free, unlimited Broncos draft coverage, this is the spot to be. We're going to have you tuned in, locked in, and never missing a beat from now until the first day of the NFL Draft. Even though Denver's not on the clock, we're not going to kick our feet back and just wait for pick 64. We're going to be on top of it. Plus, if you're looking for a spot to get more free Broncos NFL Draft coverage, join us at our mothership at Chat Sports by going to youtube.com/chatsportstv, where we'll be doing a live stream for the entire NFL Draft, rounds 1 through 7. It's a ton of fun. It's way more entertaining than I wouldn't say boring schmucks at ESPN, but I'm sorry, pumpkin pie, Mel Kiper, not going to cut it. We've got it all here at Chat Sports, so make sure you're locked in for the best draft coverage out there. With that second-round pick that they pick up from the Atlanta Falcons, how about you get an Arnold Ebiketie? How about you get a new edge rusher to help out with the pass rush? So this is a player who had 9.5 sacks, 18 tackles for loss last season for the Nittany Lions. And when you think about the just landscape of the AFC, you can't have enough pass rushers. It has gotten so loaded. We have taken all the riches from the NFC and poured it into the AFC. I mean, think about the moves that have been made, right? You've got Russell Wilson coming to the Broncos, but you've just seen the Raiders pick up Devontae Adams. You've seen Matt Ryan go from the NFC to the AFC. You've just seen a complete switch. You got to get after the quarterback in this day and age in the NFL. So how about you go and get a young pass rusher in Ebiketie? I will say, though, my life mantra is go best player available. If you've watched other Broncos videos by us here before, this is something I've said before and I'll say again. I love the idea of just taking the best talent out there. Even if it's not the biggest need you have, it may be down the road. Look at just previous drafts. Literally, just Google like 2018 NFL Draft, whatever it may be, and just kind of go back into rounds and see like, wow, that team passed on that player. Well, maybe they didn't need a wide receiver then, but in 2 years they do. And if you think that guy's going to be a stud, take him. That's kind of my Draft 101, Draft for Dummies pitch right there. You take the best player available. We'll check out other trades in just a second. But first, you know the hats that the draftees wear when they go up and give Goodell that big hug? Well, you can get the same hat when you go to chatsports.com/Broncos hat. Link's right there. So just click on it. It's in the comments. It's in the description of the video. Rep the same awesome NFL draft gear that the players will be wearing. Get hooked up with our friends at Fanatics. Chatsports.com/Broncos hat. My third trade idea. This one's a splash one. This one gets Denver into round 1. That's right. The very end of round 1. The Broncos and the Lions brokerage a deal where Denver gets the 32nd overall, the last pick. Denver would have the Rams first, second, and third round picks if this were to happen. So with in this trade, the Broncos get the Lions, get round 2, the last pick, round 3, a future 4th, and KJ Hamler, which I know is a bit, sucky. It's kind of like it's like Trinity Benson on steroids trade last year, where like we haven't seen the full potential of Hamler. The ACL tear, of course, derailed last season, but you got to spend a little money to get into round 1, and Denver doesn't have future first-round picks to offer up really, so. You trade away a wide receiver at a position you're so deep at. Like they've got Sutton, Judy, and Patrick. You can probably live without KJ Hamler. And with that 32nd overall pick, how about you draft Nakobe Dean? A wild idea because he was someone that had early Broncos mock drafts. If you remember back in January and February, this was a player we discussed picking at number 9. And now that the Broncos don't have that pick, and now that Nakobe Dean all of a sudden is slipping a little bit, because this is what the NFL draft process does. For no reason, because these guys haven't played a down since some December, some in November. But for whatever reason, we're boosting some guys up and bringing some guys down. And Nakobe Dean is just watching other players move up, which means if he's staying still, he's moving backwards. So maybe he slips in the draft. Maybe the Broncos go, wow, we thought about taking him at 9. Somehow we end up with Russell Wilson and Nakobe Dean, the player we were going to draft all together, but we get him at 32. Not a bad deal right there if you can walk away with those two guys that you wanted to get in a trade and you wanted to get in a draft, but you couldn't get both. Well, now you do. Also, just keep in mind, the NFL is a copycat league. So who won the last Super Bowl? The LA Rams did. How did they do it? Was it from drafting? Nope. They did it by trading away all their picks for proven talent. So don't be shocked if you see George Paton and other teams follow the Rams' blueprint of shopping their picks because they don't give a damn about them and instead taking proven talent and trumping that than NFL draft picks. So of all the trades we showed you guys today, which one was your favorite? Was it the Ravens trade where the Broncos gave up Bradley Chubb to shoot themselves higher up in round 2? Was it the Falcons trade where they swapped seconds and a third in order to get Arnold Ebiketie, the edge rusher out of Penn State? Or with the Lions trade that gave Denver a first-round selection to get the guy they were talking all about with that 9th overall pick a couple weeks ago? Instead, they get him for a little cheaper at 32nd, but they gave up KJ Hamler. Let me know what it is. Now, let's give some quick shout-outs here. I put out a community post where I said, hey, just comment, and first 10 people I'll give a shout-out to. That was kind of mean because then I felt bad for anyone that was commenting like 11th or 12th. So we got them all. But Victor's Gaming, appreciate you. Bronco Fan, Joshua 30, Brett, Royce, Sam, Richie, Trevor, Eddie Martinez, David Yukin. Did I get that right? I hope so. Marvin Campbell, Baffled by BS. I had to censor you. Big Kid Rock, I saw that you were making mac and cheese when you got the notification. He commented, Producer Marsh, and he's like, I'm usually the one of the always first people to comment. I was late. I'm so sorry. Well, still, you still get a shout out. I hope the mac and cheese was good. William Helm, what's your favorite place for mac and cheese, Marshall? Place. Let me know in the comments best place to get mac and cheese. David A, Xavier, John Sanstavian, Keanu, and Jimmy M. Some shout-outs right there. So we're going to end the show, though, on a pretty interesting thing that was sent across from me. So the Raiders Report host here at Chat Sports, Mitchell Renz, just shot me this link of the reason Vic Fangio got fired was because of the Las Vegas Raiders. I had to click on it. It's kind of funny. Let me share with you what this talk show radio Raider Nation guy, JT the Brick at 92.0 AM shared. So he said, the Broncos head coach got fired because of the Raiders. Way to think you guys are the stuff. I've been told that within their organization, Vic Fangio got fired because he couldn't beat the Raiders. Not that he couldn't beat the Chargers. No, they couldn't handle losing to the Raiders. To their credit, they hate the Raiders. All right, that's true. They judge their success by the Raiders historically, and after losing the last 4, they fired Fangio. I will say, if you guys remember, my lockiest lock of all of Lockland USA was the Broncos to beat the Raiders at home after Vegas fired their head coach. Why is his name escaping me? Gruden. So I assumed there was no way Bisaccia and the Raiders, the new head coach, would come into Mile High and win. And they did. And I was destroyed by Raider Nation in my DMs, who Mitchell Renz, the Raiders guy here, just let him loose on me, gave him all my social media, and they let me hear it. So I know who I'm voting for. But who can you stand the least? Which AFC West team do you hate the most? Vegas, Kansas City, or San Diego? I'm not going to get used to calling them LA. Let me know which team you hate the most down below. And if you've come this far in the video and you haven't subscribed, I don't know what you're waiting for because we got free content. This is the #1 growing Broncos YouTube channel out there, according to my mom, who keeps awesome metrics and awesome stats. So, I mean, she texts me every once in a while that she watched the video. That's good enough for me. So hit that big red button, join the channel. Never miss a single Broncos news and rumors video.